Just before sunrise, on a quiet, empty street, three children, triplets no older than 10, stood frozen beside a man collapsing at their feet. His suit, the kind only the wealthy could afford, was torn. His hands trembled. His breath came in uneven gasps, and in one of those shaking hands, a worn photograph of a woman, their mother. Little Lila reached toward it, but even in his weakened state, his fingers tightened around the picture. His voice cracked as he forced out the words, "Where did you get this? Please, tell me she's alive." These children had no idea who he was. No idea why he appeared out of nowhere. No idea why he clung to their mother's picture like it was the last thread holding him together. They didn't know the truth inside his last breaths was tied directly to them. Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're new here, click the subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. But the story behind that photo began weeks earlier. Marisol was the kind of mother many women quietly understand. A woman who carried too much but complained too little. She moved through each day with a warm smile that never quite hid the exhaustion beneath it, working 2 jobs, stretching every dollar, and skipping meals so the triplets could fill their plates first. Her cough had been lingering for months, a dry, stubborn sound she tried to smother behind closed doors. Whenever the kids noticed, she'd whisper the same line, "Mommy's okay, I just need a minute," as if saying it could make it true. The children adored her, shielding her in small ways only children can, folding laundry, warming leftovers, watching her with worried eyes when she wasn't looking. Their home was filled with love, but it always felt like one unexpected moment could break everything. And yet, the one thing Marisol guarded most was the drawer she kept locked, the one holding a letter sealed with something far too expensive for their world. But there was one truth Marisol never dared to tell her children. One evening, as Marisol stirred a pot on the stove, her legs gave out beneath her and she collapsed, the food sizzling and burning in the pan. The triplets watched in silence, fear knotting their tiny stomachs. From that day, they began skipping their own lunches, saving every scrap for their mother. In homes across America, families face days like these, scrambling, sacrificing, quietly shouldering burdens that no one sees. Hunger became their shadow, and desperation crept into every corner of their small apartment. When the cupboards ran bare and Marisol fainted onto the couch, the children made a choice they never imagined they'd have to. They sneaked into a high-end charity kitchen owned by a billionaire, hoping to bring home enough to keep their mother alive. Staff caught them immediately, but before anyone could call the authorities, the billionaire appeared on the security monitor, calm yet commanding. "Let them take whatever they want," he ordered. The kids didn't understand why, and when they returned with arms overflowing, Marisol froze. She recognized the labels instantly and knew. The food came from the same man tied to her locked letter, the secret she had never shared. Marisol's cough grew worse. Harsher, darker. One morning, streaks of blood stained the tissue she pressed to her lips. Her neighbor, worried and insistent, begged her to see a doctor. But Marisol shook her head, a tremor in her voice. "I'll be fine. Really." She hid the fear, even from her own children. Later that evening, the triplets, playing quietly in the corner, overheard a whispered phone call she thought they couldn't hear. "No, he can't know I'm still alive. Please, don't call him again." Their small hearts clenched, sensing a danger far bigger than hunger or sickness. What Marisol feared most wasn't her illness. It was the man who had once shattered her world, the man whose shadow had followed her for a decade, and the secret she had carried in silence for 10 long years. And when the day finally came that her strength gave out and she collapsed, everything she had tried to escape found her. One morning, as the sun barely lit the kitchen, Marisol collapsed while preparing breakfast. The triplets, frozen in fear, fumbled with the phone, their small hands trembling as they dialed 911. Paramedics arrived within minutes, lifting her frail body onto a stretcher and rushing her away. At the hospital, a stranger signed her admission paperwork using the credentials of a billionaire, a name none of the children recognized but one that would change their lives forever. When the triplets arrived, clutching each other in the waiting room, Marisol was gone. Nurses and social workers circled, asking questions, threatening to place the children in separate homes. They had already lost their mother, and now it seemed they were about to lose each other. But what they didn't know, what no one could have anticipated, was that the billionaire himself was watching silently from across the hallway. Every move, every fear, every tear. Alexander Voss was a man who commanded rooms without speaking, whose presence alone could bend the world to his will. Billionaire, philanthropist, untouchable. Yet beneath the tailored suits and icy demeanor, he carried a scar on his hand, a reminder of a life he had long tried to bury. When he spotted the triplets in the hospital waiting area, something inside him cracked, a fissure long hidden behind walls of wealth and control. His assistant, sensing the sudden change, asked quietly, "Sir, are you okay?" He barely breathed the words, almost to himself. They look just like her. To the children, he was just another stranger, but to the audience, the truth was clear. Alexander had loved Marisol once, fiercely. When she became pregnant, his powerful family had torn her from his life, leaving him searching for her for 10 long years. And now, standing just a few feet away, he feared he might finally have found her, but perhaps too late. The truth hit like a thunderclap. Marisol hadn't vanished into the world. She had been moved to a private wing, carefully hidden, all under the orders of Alexander Voss. The reason was painfully simple. She was dying, and he refused to lose her again. The triplets, desperate for answers, lingered near the nurse's station and overheard fragments of conversation. The anonymous benefactor, Mr. Voss, is paying everything, one whispered. Wide-eyed, the children asked, "Who is he?" Another nurse, hesitant, finally muttered, "He's her past." In that instant, the triplets realized the man quietly feeding them, the one whose name was whispered in secret corridors, was entwined with their mother's deepest, most carefully guarded secret. And just when their hearts raced with confusion and hope, their eyes fell upon the letter, the very one Marisol had kept locked away, the key to the mystery that had shadowed their lives. The letter unfolded a truth the triplets had never imagined. Alexander Voss, the man they had only begun to notice in whispers and shadows, was their biological father. Marisol's careful silence suddenly made sense. She had left because his powerful family had threatened her, her children, and everything she held dear. She didn't want them raised in that world of wealth, control, and danger. And she had kept the secret all these years because revealing it might mean losing them forever. The triplets felt the weight of betrayal pressing down on their small shoulders. "Why didn't he come for us?" one whispered. "Why did he let us starve?" another demanded, tears streaking their faces. "Why only now?" The truth cut deeper than hunger ever could. They weren't just children sneaking food. They were unknowingly taking it from the man who had abandoned them. And tonight, they would finally confront him. The triplets, hearts pounding and hands trembling, slipped quietly into the private wing where their mother rested. There, standing before Alexander Voss, they unleashed the pain they had carried for years. "Where were you when we needed food?" one demanded. "Where were you when Mom cried herself to sleep?" Another shouted, tears falling freely, "Why didn't you save her?" Alexander's composure shattered. His voice cracked as he confessed, "I tried, every year, every state, every private investigator. But your mother, she made sure I could never find you." The weight of years, regret, and helplessness crushed him, and he collapsed, both emotionally and physically, right there in the hallway. This was the moment the story came full circle, tying back to the day the children first found him on the pavement. And while he lay there, broken, Marisol stirred, opening her eyes for the first time in days, a fragile hope flickering back into their world. Marisol stirred, her voice barely more than a whisper. "Are my children safe?" Alexander's eyes filled with emotion as he replied, "They're here. They're all here." The triplets ran into the room, tears streaming, voices trembling with relief and joy. Marisol held them tightly, apologizing for keeping the truth hidden, while Alexander's voice shook as he admitted, "I should have protected you sooner." I failed you. In that fragile, quiet moment, healing began. We start over, Marisol whispered, brushing a strand of hair from a tear-streaked face. Alexander nodded, determination and love mingling in his gaze. Whatever it takes. And for the first time in their lives, the triplets felt the warmth and safety of a complete family, a bond reclaimed from years of fear and absence. Sometimes the past breaks us. Sometimes it finds us. But sometimes it gives us a second chance. What would you have done if you were Marisol? Let us know below. Your perspective matters. If this story moved you, hit the like button and subscribe for more gripping stories every week.